Hey guys, hey Alkalise to Realize family. I'm Gabby Zakara and I'm going to be hosting my first session today, so thanks for having me on. I'm going to be interviewing Eileen Fitzsimmons today. She's a real beautiful soul from Guatemala, is where she's living at the minute. She grew up not really fitting in the 9-to-5 lifestyle and decided to just up and leave, and it completely changed her life. So we're gonna have an interview of me and her now, so hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, we've got Eileen Fitzsimmons on today. Eileen, you've kind of grown up feeling different, feeling like you didn't fit into the 9-to-5 kind of like work job and things. Could you start with a little bit about kind of where you started and kind of how you got to where you are, if that's not too vague, very good question to start with.
No, I might. It can be a long story, but I'll kind of start from the beginning. So, like you said, I grew up in pretty kind of like a country setting with a lot of connection to nature, and then kind of going into university and graduating from university and really being encouraged to kind of live the normal life. And so this is, get a job, then you should get married, and then you should have kids. And, I kind of just felt myself being pushed down this path. And I always wanted to live in a very free way, a very creative way. I never wanted to have this 9-to-5 type structure. So I looked for jobs that gave me more freedom, that kind of gave me that connection to nature. And, then I had some transitions and I got into a job that was more than 9-to-5 to kind of please the family, please the people. And when I was doing this work, I was just in like a kind of a clinical setting for about a year. Each day I would go up and, I would hear people, oh, you're making more money. That's so good. You must be, really loving what you're doing. And inside I was like, I'm dying. I feel more miserable every day. I don't have any, intention to be doing this. This isn't what I feel like I'm here to be doing. And, that was something I always kind of questioned was, why are we here? Kind of bigger picture things of, spirituality, yoga, all of these things started to come into my life. And, I got to a point where I had taken some solo trips, one in particular to Ecuador, in this time of work, and meeting people when I was traveling and seeing them really living their passions and being so alive really made me start to reflect on what am I doing? Why, if this life isn't making me happy, why am I doing it? And so it really gave me the courage when I got to a certain point to decide to quit my job, sell everything, and to buy one-way ticket to Guatemala and to really travel extensively and figure out, what is my passion? What am I here to really give? And how can I live this life in a way that really resonates with me, not just in a way that society is telling me to live and having the things that we should have and, the buying, the working, the saving. These things just didn't add up. It didn't feel like a really authentic way. So it kind of pushed me to make a really big decision to figure out what is life and what do I want, and to really come home. I kind of joke, like, not everyone has to do this. It was a big journey, and I ended up traveling pretty much all of South America over the course of 6 years. But this whole journey externally was really just a journey inside. It's really a journey of coming back to myself, to, I think we're always whole, but of coming back to healing and to kind of finding all of these pieces that I'd forgotten and putting it back together. So, it was a big journey kind of around the world, but that really just led me deeper to me and to my authentic self and to the work that I'm currently doing, which is holistic health coaching. So working with women specifically who have gone through traumas, addictions, and really coming back to connection of mind, body, spirit. I love working with nutrition. I'm also a yoga teacher, meditation guide, Ayurveda. So really kind of putting all of these things together to just bring us back to ourselves.
Wow. God, that's such an amazing story. And I love as well how you said that you actually went traveling, and it was when you went traveling that you found home, because a lot of people you hear
Yeah.
saying like home is where the heart is and stuff. And it's just interesting almost how you just had to like get away from your comfortableness to find who you are. And what part of the traveling do you think it was that helped you like discover that? Do you think it was the people you met, or was it just like getting out of your comfort zone, or what was it that kind of helped you feel like you figured out more about yourself?
Yeah, I think, it had to do with both, because when you leave your comfort zone, you leave those voices that are kind of you should do this, you should do this, you should be living. Well, why are you traveling? Why are you, all of the kind of limiting beliefs that people are also putting on you. When you break out of that, and then I was traveling and meeting more people just like me doing the same thing, really kind of on this walk, figuring out what they're doing. You come into a new dialogue, you come into other people really connecting immediately on a soul level, like looking for something deeper. And so I think it's a combination of, when you're out there alone in the world, you're meeting those people that are doing different things, and then you're with yourself, so you just kind of have that voice of your intuition. And the more that we can listen to that intuition, the more it's going to guide us, wherever we need to be, whether it's physically in the world, or whether it's, just where we are, but in a different path, or in a, doing different things, different habits. So for me, I needed to leave my country. I needed to get away from kind of the family and these beliefs that had been put on me, and really figure out what my beliefs were.
What's interesting as well is like when you grow up, and like say just if you think about how you were at school and the people that you knew at school, and the version of you that they remember or that they know, and if you kind of stay in your town or stay in your area, people can condition you with their beliefs of how they think you still are, or like you say, your family's hopes, your family's hopes of what they want you to become and things like that. And maybe as well, like you say, then actually just getting away from all of that, being able to distance yourself from that type of energy and their thoughts and their kind of desires for you, just really helps you then figure out what you want, because their thoughts and emotions can influence even your own thoughts and emotions and stuff, can't they?
Absolutely. And I think too, from my personal experience, just being a woman, and kind of to compensate for other areas of my life, I wanted them to be really happy and really proud of me, and their version of life is very different than my version of life and how I really want to be living. So for those first few years of kind of growing up after university, I still had that mindset of, well, I don't want to let them down. I went to school, so I should be doing this work, because it's going to make them happy. But when I can see that it's not fulfilling me, that's when we have to make a really tough decision, and go with what makes other people happy, or live your truth. And if we want to live a healthy, authentic, aligned life, we have to live with with what's inside, with what that voice is telling us.
So when you first moved, did you move alone then, or did you have friends that you went with?
No, I moved alone. I bought a one-way ticket to Guatemala, initial landing to go to my yoga teacher training. So that was about a month-long intensive, and I figured that way it would give me kind of a hub and a purpose. And then my goal was to teach yoga as I was traveling, and kind of, have some jobs that I could juggle and make a living while I moved about. So that was a really safe landing spot, and it was very, very transformative. Really, I would say for me, that was what started my journey of healing. And I had this idea of, I'll become a yoga teacher, and then like, it's going to be good. Life is going to be easy. I'll be healed, and it's going to make sense. What a joke. That was like opening the door, like just starting to peek down the rabbit hole. So things really started to get interesting after that.
Well, do you know, it's funny you say that, because we'll talk about it in a bit, but you're saying that you do ceremonies for, and I'm going to try and pronounce it. This is going to be a laugh now. Is it Bufo Alvarius?
Bufo Alvarius. Uh-huh.
Great. Sounds
Or
so
also
much
called
like,
the Sonoran desert toad.
okay, cool. So um that kind of thing, I've not it's similar, it's like DMT, isn't it? So it's like ayahuasca and DMT, but it's its own thing. It's a different type. It's like the
Right.
5-MeO or something, is it? Because
Exactly. So, hmm
when you were just saying about kind of opening the door to healing and stuff, I've not actually tried ayahuasca or DMT myself. It's something we'll talk about in a bit, but the whole opening the door, I think I've watched a lot of like documentaries and people talk about doing ayahuasca and thinking that they'll just do like a session and they'll be healed, and they do get so much from it. But it, when you do start healing, and especially different things like that, it seems that you kind of open this door and then there's a next thing and then there's a next thing, and it's almost like it opens doors that you didn't even know were there. And it's the same with just bettering yourself as a person. And
exactly.
the more you become aware of things, the more you realize like you're aware, oh God, I didn't even know that I behaved that way, or those thoughts. And that is just the healing process, isn't it? It's like door after door. And I don't think there is ever an end, is there?
Yeah, it's kind there isn't, no. And this is, this is the beautiful thing. Like, how boring would it be if, boom, like you're healed and you're perfect and everything's done, and well, then what? I mean, this just isn't life. Life is cyclical. So we're always coming back to things, and revisiting parts of ourselves that we thought we knew, but seeing it at a different angle and deeper. And yeah, it's kind of like this onion. It's like you take a layer off and then there's another one and then there's another one. And we're just so complex, and our patterns and our subconscious, beliefs, it's like to get to the root of these things. I mean, it's a journey. it's
Mm.
it's a journey, and it's a beautiful one. This process of healing and discovering and growth, it's just never ending. And that's, I mean, for me, one of the most exciting things.
Yeah. It is true. And it's also exciting then being able to help other people with that as well, because in your
Mm-hmm.
own in your own healing, you learn like so many different things that have helped you, and everyone's got their own journey. But
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the most beautiful things about healing as well is kind of sharing that experience with people, and the connection of kind of like helping each other and stuff. It's just so much nicer than trying to do it all on your own, I suppose.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no way that we can do this alone.
Mm.
It's We just can't. Human connection is is fundamental, and especially to see other people, the more that we can open up to, and talk with other people that have had these traumas or addictions or sufferings, the more we can express those parts of ourselves and see that we're all one. I mean, whatever life we come from, we've all experienced the trauma, big, small, whatever it is. We have these pains, we have these sufferings, they're real, and they aren't talked about. This is why now in the modern world there's so much depression, there's so much anxiety, because we have so many feelings and emotions that are being so suppressed without really a healthy way to connect and to express these things.
Yeah.
So, plant medicines, just in my personal journey of healing, have been incredible doors to really transcend and to go deeper. And like you're saying, to connect, we need this human connection.
Hmm. And so we'll actually just talk about the plant medicine. So
Mm-hmm.
what I find as well is that obviously you were into kind of like permaculture, is it? These things I've not like,
Mm-hmm.
is that almost like a lifestyle of living within nature, and it's almost like self-sufficient and kind of off-grid, but also like an ethics of how you would live
Mm-hmm.
as well? Could you explain a little bit
Yeah,
what it is for
yeah.
me and anyone else that doesn't know?
Sure. So this was something that, I'm not an expert in permaculture by any means, but when I was traveling, I was doing a lot of volunteering.
Mhm.
And so either through like Workaway or woofing, I found myself on a lot of farms and a lot of these kind of off-grid, either communities or just individuals really wanting to kind of start their own self-sufficient system. And so this involved like earth shipbuilding, working with different materials to build houses, off-grid, collecting rainwater, using solar, and then having their own garden. So this, kind of whole way of living, of just seeing, we don't need to be so dependent on government or on anyone else, that we can live in harmony with nature. It gives us everything we need. We just have to tune into that.
Yeah.
It just gave me so much inspiration and connection, because we are nature. So the more that we can live closer to her and just closer to the earth, for me, it's a massive pathway to healing. Just being in nature and kind of coming back to our true roots.
Because I believe that there is like a plant for every type of healing that's needed, and a lot of people,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I've heard, well, not a lot of people, I've heard certain people say that, you know, you shouldn't need to rely on like other kind of like consciousness like altering substances to try and like heal or experience the divine and things, but these things, we should have like a symbiotic nature with everything, and these things have been put here for our aid, and they've been put here for us to work together, like the different types of plants and the food in your like local environment. It helps you kind of like live within that environment. Like if you eat seasonal, then it kind of helps you stay in tune with nature, I think. So I think that the more, like you say, the more we get to nature and realize that we can have such a beautiful relationship with plants that a lot of people don't know about yet, it's a really important thing.
Absolutely. And, I do believe, like food is medicine, and these plants are here for something. And so, n- n- the psychedelic plants or these kind of things, maybe it's not for everyone, and I'm not saying everyone should do it, but to be honest, where we are in society, we're living very disconnected from our true reality, our true essence. And so these plants bring us back into connection with who we are and really understanding oneself, our unconscious beliefs. And of course, I think the goal is to not go to a plant medicine maybe every time we need something, to become more self-sufficient, but initially to really bring us back into our true selves and to deal with trauma or depression or things like this. They have incredible results, and I'm not saying it's for everyone or that we should always be doing it, because little by little we learn through other practices, through mindfulness, through intuitive eating, through yoga, meditation, to create this state of harmony. But I mean, these plants are teachers, and with respect, in the right setting, with intention, they have incredible results.
Yeah, defo. So with your ceremonies then, are they like kind of like guided with like like kind of, how you'd see the ayahuasca ceremonies, they got like the shaman and they're doing all the energy work as well. Are the ceremonies that you do is similar in that sense, where it's all like properly done, like, say back in the UK, if people were deciding whether to do like ayahuasca, you could either go to South America and go into a rainforest and do it, or you could do it in someone's, say, lounge somewhere. But do you think that these settings of it being like with proper shamans or proper healers and in the rainforest and out in nature, it's more important to do it that way in terms of respecting and tapping into the nature spirits of the plant?
So, well, the Bufo Alvarius, the medicine that my partner and I work with, is very different than the ayahuasca. And, there is a lot of controversy around that it should be in the setting where the plant is growing or where the medicine is from. And I think that's great. I do believe that you'll receive a different connection and a different wisdom if you're, let's say, in the jungle of Peru drinking ayahuasca with the shamans than, maybe more in a clinical setting. It will be a different experience, not to say one is better than the other, because there's a space for both. And maybe you don't have the time or the finances or the comfort to make that journey. And I don't think that you should be limited if there's a safe, way that you can also be doing it. So with the ceremonies that we're doing with the Bufo Alvarius, this is a toad that lives in the Sonoran Desert in Mexico.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's an incredible animal. So it's very different than ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, there is DMT in ayahuasca, and in other plants, in a lot of other plants, and a lot of other mammals. We create DMT in our body, in the pineal gland, in the lungs. This is why they call it the spirit molecule, because it's really connecting, us with everything. With 5-MeO-DMT, they sometimes call it the God molecule. It's activating also serotonin, melatonin in the brain, and also bringing us back to our nature, but in a very profound way. With DMT, if you're smoking or drinking, you're still kind of the observer having the experience. It can be very, visual. You can have visions, you can see spirits, but there's still that distinction of me, kind of in my body and having this experience. With Bufo, when you smoke the medicine, it's inhaled. It's an immediate connection to source, and it's activating parts of the brain where kind of shutting off the ego, and you become everything. And it's really hard to even put into words, but essentially it's a higher connection where you are everything. There's no ego, there's no I. It's oneness, it's a union, everything is. So it's a very, very deep, very profound, very strong medicine, but in the right setting, with the right mindset. It's one of the most profound experiences that you can have.
Wow. It sounds amazing. Like I said, I've not tried any of them. And it's something that, like ayahuasca and DMT, are both things that I feel like I've been really interested in. But I've also heard that you almost like need a real calling for it, and it'll come to you. The opportunity will come if you're meant to do it, kind of thing. So
I do believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that's the same with the Bufo then as well?
Absolutely. This is generally, the people that we're working with, it's very synchronistic in this way. We maybe will, walk into a group of people, and, we'll start just kind of talking about Bufo Alvarius or the work we do, and someone will say, oh my God, we were just talking about that. Or, my friend, has been talking about this for a month, and, here you are. So we generally don't have plans of where we're traveling or where we're going or what we're going to do. You just flow. I mean, I really believe when you're living in your dharma, when you're doing the work that you're meant to be doing, it's not this forcing, it's not pushing. Things just come. The people that are meant to be in your life just come, and everything becomes in a very flow state, very natural, very organic. So the people that we do ceremony with are generally feeling very called to the medicine, which I think is huge. It shouldn't be something that you're pushing yourself to do, or you're, really looking. I think that these things should come with a sense of ease, and you should have a very deep peace, and you should have a very good connection with the facilitator. They should be able to give you a good source of their medicine, of their intention, of the space they hold, and listen to you and where you are. Maybe share a bit of your story of what you would like to experience, and it should be very clear and feel very good, because any kind of experience, psychedelic that you're going into, when it's altering kind of the state of mind, if you have fear, if you have insecurities, that's going to come out, or that can be a path that you go down. So it's very important that in this space, it feels very good, very safe for you to go as deep as you can and explore, because it's ultimately an experience of love. This is the space that we want to hold, to really allow people to awaken in a very deep way. So yeah, there needs to be a good relationship and, a good kind of sense of trust in all parties, I think, for these experiences.
So do you think that it's something that people would come because they're needing like healing in the same way that people might do the whole journey on ayahuasca, or is it more the experience of just experiencing the divine and feeling like you closer to source, or is it a mix?
No, it definitely both. We work with a lot of people in this medicine who have had PTSD, who have had trauma, addictions, and it's absolutely incredible results. And there are a lot of people also who come with curiosity, with I would never say doubt, but yeah, kind of with this wanting to know if there's something more, or just kind of a frustration in their life of their path, of a feeling, disconnection, and really wanting something more. So, depending on the intention, we've had experiences kind of from all realms. So it's not really limited to someone who just has a severe addiction. it's for anyone. I mean, it's for anyone wanting really to go deeper within themselves. That's the biggest.
And so you can be a beginner to these types of things and then go for the Bufo straight away, or would you advise having a bit of experience?
You can.
Can you?
You can. I mean, we've had people that have not had any other type of, psychedelic or hallucinogenic medicine, and Bufo has been there first. It is a very strong medicine. But, with that being said, again, talk with whoever would be your shaman, your guides, and, to know thoroughly kind of before the medicine. And then also because these medicines, they're going to have very little effect if you don't put in the work afterwards to really integrate. It can be an incredible experience. It can be, hours or minutes, and, oh my God, I saw divine. Now I know why I'm here. But if we don't follow up and really integrate in the days, weeks, months after, then we start to lose, really the essence of why we went to the medicine in the first place. So for us, integration work is huge. Putting in meditation, of mindfulness, of a lot of other things. But yeah, integration is really important after these experiences.
And you were saying that it's almost like you literally get like fast track to source. So something I was gonna ask is like when you do like different types of like substances, I believe that they open up like they're like little keys to different realms, and people meet different types of entities or deities or beings through these different realms. And say at ayahuasca, a lot of people talk about mother ayahuasca, or they see snakes and things. Sorry to keep comparing it to ayahuasca because I don't even know loads about ayahuasca either. But so is there anything in particular, like a common entity that people would meet on the Bufo, or is it source itself?
With the Bufo, really it's source itself. There aren't these entities. We just experience oneness. Then again, it's a different experience for everyone because we all have kind of like a different backpack of life, right? We all have different traumas, different pains, and even in each ceremony, you're going to be receiving a different message because, life is cyclical. We're always growing. We're always learning, having a different experience. So each ceremony is, it's a different window, and we're just infinite beings. I mean, what we have inside of us, it's like there's just no end to explore. And so, each ceremony you're going to be revealed maybe a different aspect of yourself or a different understanding of universe, of being, of source. But with Bufo, generally it is considered one of the most potent medicines in this connection to oneness.
Right. It sounds amazing. I'd have to even think about coming and trying, but only when I'm called to. So you do, you do like life coaching as well, don't you? So is that focused on kind of diet? Is it focused on helping people find a spiritual path? What kind of coaching is it that you do?
So I call it holistic health coaching, and I'm working generally with women who have experienced traumas, addictions, pains, or disconnection from kind of this body spirit. Because it's really a mirror of my life. I've experienced sexual trauma, I've experienced addictions, I've experienced kind of living in inauthentic ways, and so I have a lot of confidence and clarity in helping women come back to living in balance. So nutrition, the food that we eat, is massive in who we are as beings because it's information, it's energy. So this is definitely a big part of my work that I focus on, is understanding nutrition in kind of different aspects through Ayurveda, through kind of ancient wisdom, Buddhism, kind of intuitive eating. And also really just helping bring back balance of mind and body, because we're living in a healthy mind, everything outside takes care of itself. So mental health is absolutely massive and critical. I mean, it's not about the external world or, I'm not happy here, so I'm going to move back to Costa Rica. The more we start to learn that whatever we're thinking, our thoughts are creating our external world, in our environment, we have to do the work inside. So we have to change the thoughts. We have to understand, what am I thinking? How am I speaking? Because this is creating the world. This is the energy that you're putting out. So you're actively creating these situations. So it's a lot of mind-body awareness. And when we can put the mind, and body kind of in a harmony, then the spirit, everything, I mean, healing just takes care of itself. It's really just about getting the mind, I don't know if you would say out of the way, but just back in alignment. And when we're living in alignment with the mind, then the body and the spirit, everything just comes into balance in a very organic way.
And so, do you?
And then also,
go on, say.
Well, I was going to say, and then also, obviously, because I have had a lot of experience with ayahuasca, with plant medicines, with Bufo, a part of my work too is helping people either prepare for a ceremony or integrating these medicines.
Right. So do you have like a bit of, so could you share with us a bit of a, say if you were to do a perfect like morning routine, if you could, don't know if you do morning routine or not. Sometimes I try and do them and then I do them for a few weeks and then they just end up to forget to do them and stuff. But say if you could have a morning routine, like 5 things that people could do to just try and stay grounded that day, or to try and keep themselves aligned, like body, mind and soul type thing. What do you think would be, say, 5 important things you could do to do that just day to day?
Yeah, I think morning routines are huge because, well, I mean, first thing when we wake up, we're coming into this reality, into our world. And the more conscious we can be in the beginning of the day of the thoughts we're thinking, what we're doing, the more we really set ourselves up for success. So kind of a typical morning routine that I would have would be to meditate first thing. Now I'm meditating for about an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. It doesn't need to be that extreme. This is also a journey, right? So even if it's just 5-10 minutes of breathing, of just connecting to your breath, of, kind of not touching the phone, just being with you first thing, breathing, taking a few minutes of time for that, drinking good for the digestive system to kind of get everything going, everything working. Maybe a few minutes, again, 5-10 minutes of some gentle stretching, yoga, bringing you into your body, feeling that connection. When we feel in our body, we feel more alive, we feel more present. So I think being in yoga can really put us in a grounded, clear state. And then I think having a good breakfast, even if you're not one to really, like breakfast in the morning, or if you kind of like to fast more, even if it's kind of a later, like a smoothie or just a juice, just getting some good energy, something, organic fruits, an organic juice, something really fresh. It gives that body a good boost. We're doing a lot of cleansing in the morning, the body. So any kind of fresh fruit is really helping flush out toxins as well. And maybe, I love quotes, kind of inspirational quotes. So maybe reading an inspirational quote to kind of also get you in the mindset. I think those could be some really helpful ways to just be present, feel in your body, feel good, feel hydrated. And when we're doing, the mental, the physical, everything just starts to flow.
It's interesting that you say as well, like in your body, because something that a lot of people think, or they try and do, and this is me talking about myself, is when I try and connect to like my higher self, and I feel like less earthly and more kind of like connected to the stars. And I think that's like almost a bit of resentment for really grounding and being here. I'd rather like be somewhere else sometimes. But I think that the most important thing that you can do is to really connect to the earth and be here whilst you're here, like be in your body while we're here. And you can try and connect to higher self and believe it's up there, and it's kind of like we go higher, but actually isn't your soul like rooted into earth? And the more grounded you are, the more you kind of sit within yourself, and the sole of your feet being the word soul, and it's down below. And the more you grounded you are, the more you actually come back to yourself rather than trying to connect up high. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. And, sometimes either rather than saying higher self, I would say my deeper self, because we can, it's very easy, to kind of, as you're on the spiritual path, to kind of, woo, you get a little floaty and, you start to live up there.
Yeah.
But we're here, we're physical beings. Well, I mean, we're spiritual beings in a physical body having this experience, and we have to embrace that. So I love saying kind of my deeper self, like this inner knowing. My meditations are really about going inward and connecting to this place.
Mm-hmm.
And when we can connect to that deeper inner wisdom that we all have, it's important to be in our bodies, because at the end of the day, we are, we do have this body to walk us through life, and it's an incredible tool. So it's not about being so connected to the physical and like a vein form, but to be connected, if we have a body and we're healthy, I mean, the things that we can do, it's incredible. It's such a gift. Gratitude, that's one thing I should add to the morning routine. Practicing gratitude is huge to change the mindset. When we can focus on 3 things that we're positive and grateful for, the more positive energy we can put on anything, the more the negative, it just starts to fall out because we don't give it up. So, this positive thinking, and like you're saying, being in our bodies, it's really important, because we can have this spiritual connection. Yes, we are spiritual beings, but we are in this physical, capsule as we're walking on earth and delivering our message here. So it is important to embody that and to really be present in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
It's just about like, yes, staying grounded really, and not kind of letting yourself just float away into the stars. Like there's plenty of time to go back.
Exactly. It's a balance.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's when it's like, just imagine the tree, like very rooted, like always growing up, always expanding, but also very rooted. I love kind of that symbolism of we need to be present, we need that groundedness, and we also need to kind of have the mind open and to grow and to learn and to know that. I mean, look at nature. Again, going back to nature, everything is growing. Look at the trees, look at the flowers, everything is blooming and then dying and then coming back. I mean, we're the same, we're always in this state of continual expansion and movement. So it's important to embrace kind of the both elements.
Yeah, definitely. And something that I heard like recently, which I thought was really cute, is like, obviously I've got into health this past year. I'm vegan, but I'm eating raw at the minute. And when I'm eating raw, like I can't tell you how much the difference is, like night and day compared to eating cooked food. And also just feeling connected to like the nature and the earth, and just feeling more spiritual. It's strange. Are you eating raw, or have you had times when you like eating raw food? It's crazy the difference.
Yeah, it is. I have I don't have right now any, I would say, particular diet. I'm mostly vegan. Every now and then where we live, there are some neighbors that have eggs, so maybe every now and then we'll do something. I think it's important because we're also different in our body types, and we're always changing, to kind of learn to eat with that intuition and how it feels right in the moment where we are in our phase of life. But 100%, the more fresh vegetables, fresh fruits we can eat, the more prana that it has. And like you're saying, I mean, you feel that it's like electricity. We just did, my partner and I, a 5-day raw juice cleanse, and coconut water and, raw juices. We're like, whoa! I mean, you just feel electric, you feel so alive and so much energy. And, I'm not saying that, I can live on just juices. No, but, again, to kind of come back and trust the body. And wow, like you're saying, when you can connect with the food that you're eating and kind of give gratitude, it's unbelievable. It plays such a huge part.
Yeah, even like when you're saying the gratitude, or even just like putting your intention in the food and stuff, it's something that I've like tried to start again. I've forgotten to do it loads of times, but obviously when you condition like energy, you can condition your food to heal you in different ways. And especially when it's alive living food, like it's got all the water in it, it's not cooked and it's still alive. Can't imagine the potential that you could have with what you could like put in that, in terms of energy and casting spells in it and stuff.
Absolutely. And I mean, this is, I forget the Japanese, I think, doctor who's done so many experiments with the water, right? Just saying, thank you. Whatever energy you're putting out of your mouth, that's a vibration. And so you're putting that you know, if you're putting it into your water, into your food, because fruits and vegetables are mostly water, when you're saying, you know, thank you, and really feeling it and putting a blessing,
Mm-hmm.
you're changing that structure. I mean, and we're water,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so when we're living in that state of gratitude, of thank you, of a high vibration, we are, I mean, molecularly changing our bodies. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a huge practice that, you know, that we should have.
Mm.
I think we can all, yeah, kind of implement.
And I think what I was going to say before that, when I was saying it was cute, is like I'd heard someone say that our bodies are just kind of like pets, really, and we're like, it's like we're looking after these pets because the pets look after us, like they house us, and you could,
Right.
your mind can go against your body, and you can eat crap, and you can do things that is like so against your body, and all your body tries to do its whole life is just make you better and like heal you all the time, like the poor thing. It's like a little pet that just wants to please you, and you don't, and then like you don't treat it nice. But like, because I love animals now, if I try and see this as a little pet, I try and really look after it like I would like a natural pet, and feed it right and stuff, and then it kind of helps you in terms of grounding into your body and being here with it rather than like floating away, like I was saying earlier, I think.
Absolutely. I think I read, you know, or someone said once, we're basically like houseplants, but with complicated emotions. I mean, you know, we are mammals, we're animals, and if a giraffe is sick, it doesn't go to the giraffe doctor. Like it intuitively knows what to do. And we're the same. I mean, we know what to do. We know how to heal, but it's just a matter of the mind and, you know, coming back to that. Generally with any sickness, you know, if we give ourselves a few days, water, you know, broth, something like this, we come back to a place. I mean, the body knows how to heal itself. We know how to create human life. We're not, you know, pregnant thinking, okay, now I'm going to make the heart and then the kidneys, and then life is so intelligent. And, you know, to think that our bodies don't know how to heal themselves. I mean, if you have a cut, are you thinking, okay, now I'm going to make some more cells? No, I mean, we just have to get the mind kind of out of the way to let things, to let nature just work.
Yeah, defo.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're saying about the plant thing, I'd love to know what you think. But you know, because like plants have spirits, would you say? Because obviously you can connect to them when you heal and things. So, do you think that plants could have emotions, in your opinion?
I suppose emotions I've never thought about, but I mean, you know, there's spirit. It's an intelligence. So I do believe that there's a great deal of wisdom that they hold. Emotions, I don't know. I mean, because it's such a human trait that we, you know, that we put onto things and that we put onto animals. I mean, but there are animals, you know, animals have emotions, of course. So plants, I've never thought about it from an emotional way, but from just, you know, a spiritual intelligence, they're you know, they have a lot of wisdom.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because I'm like, because I'm vegan. If any vegans say that plants have got feelings or whatever, that's it. They hate you for it. But they very well could have, like, they don't have the same biology as we do, so they don't release. Well, they do release kind of chemicals in a way, but
like stress, yeah, stress chemicals.
and whether emotions are actually just energy, it's just energy in motion, isn't it? So it could be a possibility that they do have emotions. But when you're talking about, say, or when I talk about the oversoul, perhaps they are not of the ego, or then they've not really got like the same emotional body that we do on a lower level. Like, so perhaps Mother Ayahuasca isn't going away and crying about all the crap that people have just dumped on her today. She needs therapy as well. Maybe
Right.
they've got past that.
Yeah, if she has emotion too.
I know, imagine like being everyone's counselor and no one asks how you're feeling.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, so between the coaching and the buffet type stuff, what do you prefer doing, or is it just different?
You know, it's just different. The Bufo, it's always a way to, to really connect and to grow. And it really they both keep me kind of going in a different path. With the Bufo, it's a very spiritual, very, very high, deep, deep connection. And, then with the coaching, it's to see the people and to really be connected with so many people on this journey that, that really fulfills me to see. And, in the ceremonies, to see people that are so brave to coming and to sit with their fears and to really work through these things. It just gives me so much inspiration, for my personal journey as well, to keep going and to keep inspiring and to keep connecting. These things just fill me in such a way that I every day I'm so grateful to be where I am and to be doing the work that I'm doing. I couldn't imagine my life in any other way. I feel so blessed.
Well, it's amazing, really. Like, your energy is just so beautiful. So I can just tell that anyone who does go to the ceremonies and stuff, they're in like the most amazing hands. And I can just imagine the intentions and the energies that you hold and stuff are like, like I say, I definitely would go there myself if I ever came to North America. I'd definitely come and see you guys. And on your days off, then
Absolutely.
What do you like doing on your days off?
I'm also very physical. So I love, being in the mountains or climbing. Running, all of these things, they're just kind of organically woven into my life. But I love drawing. I do a lot of mandala artwork. It kind of puts me in that meditative state. So yeah, just little things. We have a dog, so just kind of playing with him and, taking him on nature hikes or paddle boarding or, swimming, anything that just keeps me connected to nature. It fills me up. And I used to ride horses a lot. That's something that in the years of traveling, it's been hard to find, but I'm hoping that horses can come back into my life soon.
Yeah, definitely. Because I've actually been watching loads recently about like communicating with animals, obviously telepathically, because you can communicate with like spirits and stuff. And I'd love to be able to do that. And like there's this one woman who just has such amazing connection with horses and things. And I think that the animal human connection is so beautiful as well. And I'd love to see that kind of become more of a thing of people just being closer to animals as well as the plants, and us all, the whole of the earth and nature, just having such a beautiful relationship with each other, rather than it just being like us versus plants versus animals, and not seeing how we can kind of work together.
Absolutely. Because there is such a harmony that, that can exist in all of these things. We're not apart from anything. And so the more, that we can come back to living in this way of connecting with animals, connecting with plants, connecting to the land. For me, this is the future. This is the way that we have to go back to, not to go on a different topic, but we know the way that the world has been going, it's not sustainable. We cannot live in a way where we're exploiting animals and exploiting the land and contaminating. This is a time that we're awakening in a mass scale, and I do believe that we're creating a new earth, 100%.
Yes. It's what we need. Everyone's saying like, let's go back to normal.
I know.
Like, please. It's for us to now create what we need to create, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is the time to, it's a special time to, people can take the quarantine however they want, but it is a time to go inside and to connect and to reevaluate, was this job really what I needed? Was this relationship really, making me happy? So it's a time to ask some deep questions, and a time that people can really come out with a different perspective, into the world, and really thinking of a new way that we all want to be living and creating. It's a big opportunity.
Yeah, that's one of the last things that I was gonna ask you then was, obviously it's crazy at the minute, everything's like going on, and we've all got our like theories or feelings of what's going on, and it's a big awakening, which is really nice to know. But for people who are like locked down then, and you're saying that mental health is one of the most important things, everything else kind of falls into place. Would you have any advice for like kind of like people who are in lockdown, what they could kind of start doing if they've not yet kind of come on the spiritual journey, or then they're not thinking about how to kind of become awake? What could they maybe start doing in this time?
Yeah, I mean, in this time, going inwards, and if you maybe don't know what your passion is, just trying to kind of understand what makes you curious. Because there's so many things in the world, and when, people say, well, you should be living your passion, that can be kind of like a pressure and feel kind of complicated. So just maybe even starting basic, and what brings you curiosity, what brings you joy, and starting to kind of explore these things. And this is a really good time to come to a practice that feels good. If you're feeling really stressed, if you're in your mind a lot, if you are spending all of your time on social media and comparing, start to kind of put the energy in a different direction. I mean, there are so many amazing, I'm a yoga instructor, so yoga is massive for really connecting the mind and the body and the spirit, and kind of giving us some grounding, meditation, going online, maybe looking for some guided yoga meditation videos. Those can be really big things if we're feeling grounded and good in our body, to, to silence the mind and to kind of let the spirit, I would say, start speaking to us, to kind of come back into that voice.
That's the best advice.
And food. I mean, I think, food is huge too. So I think if you can just, ditch the processed things that aren't really food, just eat more fresh vegetables, fruits, things like that. Even if you don't want to make a big switch, buying more organic eggs, or just, it's little steps. I think people feel a lot of pressure around food, but just knowing the more whole, actual food, you notice a massive difference in who you are as a person, because it's what makes us up, the food that we're eating.
Yeah. Food is mood, isn't it?
It's massive, massive, massive.
Yeah. Well, I really liked all that advice, and especially the whole how to kind of find your passion and stuff, because it's one thing that we don't hear a lot really, and a lot of the time you really don't know what it is that you like doing, or what direction to go, and you can feel really lost with it. So like you say, just kind of first starting with what you actually enjoy doing, what brings you joy, and it's like a really nice way of just starting. And yeah, like I think that, like you say, when people kind of go back to that can really start helping the healing and the spiritual journey just in itself, in just living your purpose and finding out what your purpose is.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, just asking these little questions of, well, I like cooking, or I've always really liked drawing, or I've always really, been interested in graphic design, or whatever it is, if there's that kind of spark of, I've kind of wanted to know more, or, I like dancing, listen to it, and even if you just do it for a few weeks, or if it just turns into a hobby, I mean, this is what it's all about. We're learning, and we can always change. We can always grow. There's no, you don't have to choose one thing and then do it forever. There are no rules of life. You can live however you want. You're free. So explore, make mistakes, do things that scare you. This is what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, Eileen, it's been so beautiful to have you on. It's my first talk and stuff. I've just loved hearing everything that you've had to say, and like your energy. I can just feel it through the screen. It's so it lifts me up and stuff. So thanks so much. And if someone wanted to like find your retreat, like kind of to come for a ceremony, or if they wanted to like find you in terms of coaching, where could they find you?
Well, thank you so much. It's been amazing to be here. And right now, I'm on Facebook or Instagram, and Eileen Fitzsimmons is my name for Facebook, or Eileen, EILEENK Fitz, FITZ, is my Instagram account. So either through a direct message, that's a great way to reach out. And I'd love to be in touch with them.
Mega. Well, we'll put your links in the bottom of the description in the video anyway, so everyone will be able to find you. And yeah, just thanks so much for coming on Alkalise to Realize. Peace and love to the Alkalise Real Life family. Thanks for having me on as well, having my first hosting session. Couldn't have chosen a better person.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, yeah, see you guys soon.
Bye. Thank you for connecting.